And 3, be nice. I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice.
So then we get to the 3 rules. Okay, can we talk a minute about how Patrick Swayze is a fucking chain smoker in this movie? Like, is there a scene where he doesn't have a cigarette draped through his lips?
There's a few, not many.
And here's the thing, and this is what I love. It's fucking awesome. Like, we need more.
That's what powers the like roundhouse kicks.
I thought it was
the mullet.
Yeah, so I would think the mullet powers the roundhouse kicks because once you get that whip motion around, the rest of the hair brings you around with it. Like, and if you think about it, okay, well, who has...
It helps the momentum.
Yeah, it's a momentum helper. But, okay, so who has the better roundhouse kick? Who has the better spin kick? Is it Dalton from Roadhouse? Or is it Mel Gibson, Lethal Weapon?
I'd have to see that again.
You would have to see Mel Gibson's Lethal Weapon roundhouse kick again to remember it?
Yeah.
Well, then it's Dalton for you.
Well, I've watched this movie like 20 times this last week, so.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of all I remember. It's all I'm dreaming of this movie at this point.
Insane. I would say Mel Gibson's is better because he had crazy hair and his spin kick was much faster. And like, if you look at some of Patrick Swayze's spin kicks in here, dude, like they're a little weak. They're a little slow. And he kind of like taps people on the back and then they just go flying. They're just like, okay.
Well, that's true. Especially the throat rip one. Like that was comical.
Yeah, he was pretty wasted that day. Like he was hurting and he's just like, look, I'm going to like tap you into the water, but I can't get my leg up past my hip at this point.
Roman might be onto something, man. Maybe it's the smoking.
Yeah, it's the smoking. So the cigarette, because it's lit, the fire pushes him because, you know, he look, I'm not a rocket scientist, but I'm pretty sure this is scientifically accurate. So the heat from the cigarette pushes him one direction, whipping the hair around, which generates momentum. And then the only thing left to do to balance yourself out is to lift your leg off the ground, creating this tornado of kick. And the only way to stop yourself is with a bad guy on the other end of that kick. Does this sound accurate?
I mean, no.
Well, back to the drawing board. All right, simple rules.
Speaking of which, look what's behind him.
Oh, yeah. So
why?
Okay, so he's talking to all of his new team members that he's gotten underneath his belt. But draped over these poles is the blueprints to the entire building. Why?
Why?
No, you.
Like even the sign. I don't know.
You watched this 20 times. I watched it once.
I did.
You tell me
they don't reference it once. It's
okay.
They even have like the sign blueprints for the sign outside. Like, are they just revamping the whole?
Yeah.
The whole building.
What is
they
Dalton
finding
planning to do?
Escape routes? Like
he's like, look, if all else fails, we'll just hit this button and the C4 will go off and just demolish this whole place. Okay. Like if it gets too rowdy, like, do you think he has that going on? You think he's got it wired? Like that's what they're doing?
I mean, that'd be cool. What a waste if they did. Like I would have wanted to see
But
that.
what is it? Why is this plan number one? Like, hey, I'm going to need to fire a bunch of people and also get me the schematics of this place stat. I need to study the layout.
I need to know every inch of this building. I want to know where all the hidden doors are.
Yeah, he's looking for a hidden door for treasure just to get the hell out of Missouri.
Why else do people look at blueprints?
I have no idea. Like, blueprints are so stupid. Just look, if you're going to be a man and you're going to build stuff, get some wood, get some nails, get a hammer, build it. Like, what the hell? Blueprints. That's like an instruction manual. What the fuck you need an instruction manual for? Simple rules he comes up with. Rule number 1 is this right here.
All you have to do is follow 3 simple rules. 1, never underestimate your opponent.
Never. Do you know how dangerous that is to underestimate your opponent.
It's very dangerous. I mean, even in sports, that's a thing, right? Like you gotta be on your game.
Right. Imagine if, it was a midget and they're like, well, I better treat this guy as a giant. So he's got blueprints out, he's got schematics, and and rule number 1, do not underestimate your opponent, even if they have like a missing leg. Like that is dangerous. You think you could take out the one-legged guy? You are mistaken. So then he launches into number 2.
Do you think that like losing a limb is like losing one of your senses, where like all the other limbs just kind of make up for it?
Not at all.
Anyone in the chat missing a limb, I need to know if you have like one extra strong arm or something.
I think if you're the spot where it got cut off gets stronger, and it's just intense. So if you have a
like your arm nub,
so your arm nub is like 3,000 times more powerful, and that's why you shouldn't underestimate this guy, because he could punch you with the arm nub and kill you. Let's just blow out your heart from your back. Yeah,
how embarrassing.
The one-armed guy killed you. says St. Peter. He's like, oh, are you serious? Like, you couldn't even take out the one-armed guy? Okay, rule number 2.
2, take it outside. Never start anything inside the bar unless it's absolutely necessary.
less broken glass to replace, and tables and
you mean the guy
damage. I mean,
wait,
like
you mean the guy who grabs a dude by the back of the head and slams his head through a fucking table is worried about the cost benefit analysis? He's doing some cost benefit analysis here.
It was necessary in that situation.
Was it? It looked like he had him under control. I mean, I'm not complaining. So if it was me, I'd just go around the whole bar, no matter if they started shit or not, and just start slamming dudes' heads through tables. But he seems like a measured dude. I'm not.
That's why you're not on his team.
Dude, I would be the second guy fired. Oh, that's actually a good number 1 rule. Imagine if he came up with that rule first. Leave that up. If he was like, all right, rule number 1, don't summon anything you can't banish. Like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden he has to karate fight ghouls in the 3rd act, just randomly. They never talk about ghosts or anything like that. And then just out of nowhere, they summon up ghosts and have to fight it. Dude, Roadhouse 2, we just wrote it.
I think we should make it.
Yeah. Okay, so here's rule number 3. The famous rule.
In 3, be nice. I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice.